The House will be in order. The chair lays before the House a communication from the Speaker.
The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., April 29, 2025. I hereby appoint the Honorable Mark Alford to act as Speaker Pro Tempore on this day. Signed, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Pursuant to the order of the House of January 3, 2025, the chair will now recognize members from lists submitted by the majority and minority leaders for morning hour debate. The chair will alternate recognition between the parties with time equally allocated between the parties and each member other than the majority and minority leaders and the minority whip, limited to 5 minutes. But in no event shall debate continue beyond 11:50 a.m. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Illinois, Mrs. Ramirez, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate longtime Chicago leader, organizer, my dear friend, Amisha Patel, for her nearly 3 decades of civic engagement and community organizing. From leading environmental justice efforts at just 19 years of age to organizing Chicago care workers with SEIU Local 73, Amisha has consistently united diverse communities to build power. Her work developing thousands of leaders laid the groundwork for winning affordable housing, quality education, and more in Chicago and across the state of Illinois. I am proud to have worked alongside Amisha during her 15 years as the executive director of Grassroots Collaborative, where we opposed school closures, we championed affordable housing, and fought for critical investments to our social safety net. Amisha is a fighter for peace, for justice, for community. And as a 3-time cancer survivor currently in treatment, I want her to know that we are with her as she continues this fight. On behalf of Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, it is my sincere honor to commend Amisha Patel for her lifetime of service, organizing in our communities to fight for the future that we deserve. Congratulations, Amisha. Mr. Speaker, I rise today during National Fair Housing Month to honor Carlos Ramirez Rosa, my constituent, my friend, and the former 35th Ward Alderman, for his legacy of leadership to realize safe, affordable housing for all. And I want to congratulate him on his recent appointment as the CEO and Superintendent of Chicago Park District. In his decade as alderman of the 35th Ward, which includes Logan Square, Hermosa, Irving Park, and Avondale, Carlos championed policies to expand affordable housing and resist gentrification and displacement. He has led unapologetically efforts to expand protections for immigrants, for the LGBTQ+ people, and workers in Chicago. Carlos shifted the dynamics of local politics by making sure that neighbors and constituents had power over land use, development, and zoning. In doing so, Carlos modeled what collaborative co-governance approach to community development could look like and work. It is how we resulted in tangible wins and how he was able to bring those wins to community, including the development of 100 units of affordable housing in the heart of Logan Square in the Lucy Gonzalez Parsons Apartments. And so on behalf of Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, it is my privilege and my honor to commend Carlos Ramirez Rosa for his commitment to a fair, safe, and dignified life for all his neighbors. Yo sé que continuarás transformando nuestras comunidades y estoy agradecida contigo, Carlos. Congratulations, Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Mr. Speaker, in commemoration of National Fair Housing Month, I rise to recognize my constituent, affordable housing resident, and community advocate, Deborah Suggs. For over 50 years, Deborah has called home the Marion Park Apartments, a Wheaton affordable housing community serving seniors and families. And while raising her children, grandchildren, and now great-grandchildren, Deborah has brought together her community to organize for the resources they need to thrive, whether it's secure transportation for school, childcare for working families, or pedestrian safety. As a leader with DuPage United, Deborah has been successful in imagining what safe, livable communities look like and building power and coalition to realize the dreams for people in Wheaton. I had the pleasure of meeting Deborah at one of my town halls where I saw firsthand her passion to fight for herself, for her family, for her community, and for our district. And so, Deborah, on behalf of Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, it is my honor to recognize you for your lifetime of leadership in Wheaton, for your advocacy for a fair, safe, and affordable community. Thank you, Deborah. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentlewoman will provide a translation of your remarks. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Carter, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize David Sparks for his outstanding contributions and visionary leadership in the pharmaceutical industry. As the previous CEO and current chairman of the board at Professional Compounding Centers of America, PCCA, Mr. Sparks has been instrumental in advancing the pharmaceutical industry. Since joining PCCA in 1992, he has fought to protect pharmacists' rights to compound, playing a key role in the FDA reform legislation. Before PCCA, he owned pharmacies in Tulsa for over 2 decades, pioneering the introduction of compounding pharmacies and hospice care. Committed to education, Mr. Sparks is a proud contributor to the SWOSU General Scholarship Fund, ensuring that future pharmacists have the essential resources to succeed. He is also an adjunct professor at the University of Houston College of Pharmacy and an active member of its maddening Society of Benefactors. He remains a dedicated advocate for the advancement of pharmacy, continuously supporting the profession through leadership and philanthropy. Mr. Sparks' impact on the pharmaceutical industry is profound and lasting, and his leadership will continue to shape its future. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize Jim Smith, a distinguished leader whose dedication and vision has profoundly impacted both the Professional Compounding Centers of America, PCCA, and the healthcare industry. His educational background, including a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Biology from West Texas A&M University and an MBA from the University of Portland, has shaped his strategic leadership. Since joining PCCA in 2000, Mr. Smith has played a crucial role in the organization's growth, serving as President, Chief Operating Officer, Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and a key member of the strategic management team. His leadership has strengthened PCCA's core capabilities, driving innovation and excellence in pharmaceutical compounding. Prior to his tenure, Mr. Smith leveraged his expertise in home health, specialty medicine, respiratory pharmacy, long-term care pharmacy, and compounding support, demonstrating his commitment to advancing patient care. Today, as executive advisor to the PCCA Board of Directors, Mr. Smith continues to shape the industry, ensuring that innovation and patient care remain at the forefront. Mr. Smith's dedication exemplifies the highest standard of leadership and service. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate Gus Basani, a longtime leader and visionary in the pharmacy compounding industry who has recently assumed the role of Chief Executive Officer of the Professional Compounding Centers of America, PCCA. Mr. Basani earned his Doctor of Pharmacy degree from Drake University College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Since then, he has been invaluable in various settings within the pharmaceutical industry. Mr. Basani embraces opportunities to give back, teaching extemporaneous compounding principles to pharmacy students at Drake University. Mr. Basani has been with PCCA since September of 2002, actively participating in legislative, regulatory, and public affairs initiatives. At PCCA, he has been a visionary, contributing extensively to the organization's scientific, technical, and strategic pursuits. In addition to his outstanding work with PCCA, Mr. Basani has previously served on the United States Pharmacopoeia Compounding Expert Committee. Mr. Basani, congratulations on this exciting achievement, and I wish you best in your new role. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Magaziner, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to speak about a matter of life or death for millions of children around the world. Malnutrition is the leading cause of death for children under 5 globally. When children starve, their bodies break down their own muscles, bones, and organs to survive. Their immune systems collapse, leaving them defenseless to disease. If you go into a clinic where children are suffering from malnutrition, you won't hear them crying because they don't have the strength. The silence is all you will hear. When it comes to nutrition, the first 1,000 days of a child's life are critical for development for the rest of their lives. But there is a miracle treatment that can save the lives of malnourished children even in the most remote corners of the world. Ready-to-use therapeutic food, or RUTF, a nutrient-packed peanut butter paste. Also known as Plumpy Nut, RUTF delivers the fat, sugar, and protein that children with malnutrition need to survive and grow. It requires no refrigeration, and kids show improvement and are saved within weeks. Adhesia Nutrition, based in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, is one of the 2 organizations in the United States that manufactures Plumpy Nut. From their factory in North Kingstown, they produced over 88 million pounds of Plumpy Nut each year. This work saved more than 25 million lives across 65 countries, including 5 million lives last year. They, along with another organization, MANA, based in Georgia, have been doing life-saving work. But this work has been largely halted because the Trump administration has frozen new orders for RUTF, grinding production nearly to a halt. This is despite Secretary Rubio and Elon Musk promising publicly that emergency food aid would be continued. That has not been the case so far, and relief for starving children is now uncertain. USAID's Office for Food and Peace has funded the manufacture and distribution of this food relief to the developing world for decades. But with the closure of USAID and despite the assurances of Secretary Rubio and other administration officials, no new orders have been submitted for the next fiscal year. As a result, Adhesia, the factory in my district, has had to lay off staff, leaving production of Plumpy Nut slowed nearly to a halt. Shipments meant for starving children have been stranded in warehouses. There are boxes of this stuff sitting in warehouses right now with no place to go. Every hour of missed production means 415 starving children not getting the food they need to survive. If we allow Adhesia and MANA's mission to fail, it will be a moral failure on our part. So I urge the administration and my colleagues, do the right thing. Restore the funding for emergency food aid. Keep America's promise to the world's most vulnerable children. We do not have another day to waste. This is a moment of urgency. That is why, starting today, I will take to the floor of the House every single day to call to anybody in this city who will listen, asking, please restore federal funding for emergency food aid. We do not have the ability to filibuster in the House like they do in the Senate, but I do have the right and the ability to stand in this chamber every day for at least a couple of minutes to call attention to this urgent issue, and that is exactly what I intend to do until this funding is restored. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Alford, for 5 minutes.
Get a little closer. There you go. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor John M. Foster of Harrisonville, Missouri, as our April Veteran of the Month. A proud son of Cass County, John served 9 years in the active Army Reserve with the 4th Squadron of the 4th Cavalry Division of the 102nd Infantry Division, earning the rank of Sergeant First Class. After his honorable service, John dedicated his life to building his community, literally and figuratively through his work as the owner of John Foster Construction Company, and through decades of civic leadership. He served as president of the Harrisonville Chamber of Commerce, chaired numerous community initiatives, and was instrumental in establishing the Lawrence Smith Memorial Airport. As a charter member of the Harrisonville Rotary Club, he promoted international goodwill and service. John M. Foster's life of duty and service to country, community, and family stands as a shining example of American patriotism. We are proud to honor him today, proud to have him in Missouri's 4th Congressional District, and we thank him for his service to our great nation. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize an iconic 4th District small business, our small business of the month, Peak and Jake's Hot Rods, parts of Peculiar, Missouri. For more than 50 years now, Pete and Jake's has been a cornerstone of the hot rod community, crafting high-quality suspension components that are not only admired, but built to actually use. What began in 1973 as two friends restoring a pair of 1934 Ford three-window coupes quickly turned into a legendary brand. Pete and Jake's built and designed the hot rod California Kid for the 1974 Hollywood movie entitled The California Kid. Pete and Jake's later sold their California hot rod shop along with the California Kid to Jerry Slover, and he moved the hot rod shop to Cass County, Missouri. His son Jason, his wife Tina, and their son Colton, third generation, in this picture here, run the daily operation of the all USA-made parts for hot rods. Their family impact goes well beyond just business. They give back to our community. Each and every year, Pete and Jake's host a major car show in May with all the proceeds going to support junior diabetes research, showcasing their dedication to both the customers and their community. Last year, Mr. Speaker, they celebrated 50 years in business, and each May they have a hot rod show with hundreds of cars coming from all over the country into our district. Last year, 500 hot rods from 40 states were represented. All the proceeds go, as we said, to junior diabetes. Small businesses like Pete and Jake's represent the American dream, built on hard work, innovation, and passion for what they do. Today, we congratulate Pete and Jake's Hot Rod Parts on their 50th anniversary and thank them for their contributions to Missouri and to America. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Couture, for 5 minutes.
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes and to place extraneous remarks in the record.
So ordered.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, as co-chair of the House Great Lakes Task Force, I rise today to speak on behalf of our Great Lakes region. My part of it is the 9th District of Ohio that stretches all the way from Bryan, Ohio, all the way across the northern part of Ohio through Toledo, all the way to Sandusky, and down to Fremont, Ohio, passing through places like Rossford, Perrysburg, Defiance, Ohio, and so many other beautiful places. Our hardworking families depend on the Great Lakes, not just for their livelihoods, but for our way of life. We are the largest fresh water body on the face of the earth. And we take the responsibility for tending that seriously. The Great Lakes form the beating heart of our regional economy. They support hundreds of thousands of jobs, from the auto and steel industries, manufacturing to shipping, farming to fishing, and tourism to technology. Our freshwater coast is a national treasure. And it is also a global economic engine, the third largest economy in the world that we share with Canada. We work on this together. We have from the beginning. So the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, or some people call it the GLRI, has been a bipartisan lifeline and a vital investment that has brought over $3.7 billion to our complex ecosystem to restore our wetlands, to clean up toxic waste and hotspots, and to protect our fresh drinking water. It's complex. Lots of industry, lots of agriculture, lots of people, and lots of fresh water. We must fully fund the GLRI. Every dollar brings back 4 to our economy, and that just makes common sense. Let me be clear to this new administration, keep your hands off our lakes. We will not stand by while short-sighted proposals gut the programs that have protected our water, our health, and our jobs. I would urge the President, while you're in Michigan, go visit Flint, Michigan. Look at what we have to do to restore enterprise and fresh water across our region. Mr. Speaker, currently, our Great Lakes economy is being choked by reckless tariffs and inside-out trade policies that hit us hard, including the district I represent in Northwest Ohio. It hits our pocketbooks, and it hits the balance sheets of thousands of companies. Take a drive through the Port of Toledo. You'll see mountains of aluminum and steel stockpiled, stalled, waiting. Waiting for what? Our workers and small businesses are paying the price for a trade war that didn't need to start. And we certainly can't win as a joint economy. Our region, the Great Lakes region, we share with Canada. And what is all this commotion for? Tariffs on Canada, our friend, I underline that, an ally, mind you. The Trump tariffs have inflated costs across our industries, including auto manufacturing, crushing competitiveness in an industry that has long been the pride of Northern Ohio and for which we have struggled for 40 years to reinvest in Sandusky, in Perrysburg, in Warren, Michigan, in Windsor, Ontario, and across the industrial belt. Plants are being squeezed or idled, shifts are being cut, and paychecks are being threatened. It doesn't stop there. Tariffs on Canadian lumber, potash, energy have disrupted supply chains our region relies on. It is our lifeblood. Construction costs are soaring. 8% for a mortgage. Who can afford that? Farmers can't access the nutrients they need, and they're in the planting mode right now. The tractors are going into the fields. As mortgage interest rates rise, we need Canadian lumber. The cost of housing is through the roof. Energy bills climb higher and higher. This is not economic patriotism. This isn't putting America first. It's self-inflicted damage. Somebody doesn't understand where these lakes exist. We share them with Canada. Trump tariffs on the U.S. and Canada put our workers not first, they put them last. And rising prices for consumers is hitting us hard across the board. Let's not forget tourism, one of our region's most vital and underestimated economic engines. Lake Erie supports $1 billion of recreational boating and sports fishing. Billions. A boating industry, second to none. We share it with Canada. Cedar Fair, with Cedar Point, the roller coaster capital of the world, drawing millions, including from Canada, and they're boycotting our facilities right now. Tourism generates billions. Mr. President, please, while you're in Michigan, review how damaging your tariffs are to our Great Lakes nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Klein, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to congratulate the Christendom College Lady Crusaders women's basketball team on their extraordinary achievement in capturing the 2025 USCAA Division II National Championship, their second consecutive national title. Under the leadership of head coach Mary Minnick, the Lady Crusaders entered the season ranked number 1 and lived up to the challenge, finishing with an exceptional record of 26-2 and securing 3 straight victories in the postseason tournament to bring home the title once again. This remarkable team is led by seniors Bridget McCaughey, Regina Bonvisuto, Catherine Thomas, and Miranda Keller, and includes Grace Hatley, Lily Vanderwood, Mary Pennefather, Georgie Snyder, Libby Colasar, Audrey Spear, Elizabeth Heisler, and Serena Keller. Miranda Keller was named Student Athlete of the Year. Regina Bonvisuto was named Honorable Mention All-American. Mary Pennefather was named First Team All-American and Tournament MVP. And Catherine Thomas was named First Team All-American and Women's Basketball Player of the Year. 8 players were also named to the Academic All-American team: McCaughey, Bonvisuto, Thomas, Keller, Pennefather, Colasar, Spear, and Keller. These student athletes demonstrated incredible discipline, teamwork, and commitment both on and off the court.
Coach Minnick, now in her 7th season, has fostered a winning culture built on faith, leadership, and mentorship. Her guidance, along with assistant coaches Annie Heisler and Jeremy Minnick, has elevated the program into a true national powerhouse. Congratulations again to the 2025 Christendom Lady Crusaders on this historic season. It's an honor to recognize such an outstanding team and the pride they bring to our community. I wish them continued success in the years to come. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the Salem High School speech team, who just made history by winning their 19th consecutive VHSL state championship, the most in Virginia history. With a commanding 39-11 win over EC Glass, Salem now holds 103 individual state titles, a record capped by senior Claire Rawlins, who earned the school's 100th with her 2nd straight title in impromptu speaking. Joining Claire were state champions Charlie Bain in serious dramatic, Rosalie Botos in prose, and the dynamic duo of Lacey Stratton and Bella Porch in humorous duo. Rounding out the team's strength were runners-up Hall Blackwood, Rebecca Steinweg, Parneet Gill, Tara Farpour, and Noah Lovern. 3rd place finishes went to Connor Smithers and Colton Easter, Branasha Devlin, Ariana Turner, and Caden Smithers. Also competing were Allie Ori, Zippy Elliott, Tori Iverson, and Lori Lowry, all rising stars, along with Kaylin Henze, the team's manager, who made sure every detail of the event ran smoothly. This team is more than a powerhouse, it's a legacy of excellence. Congratulations, Salem. Your voices are making history. Mr. Speaker, today marks 100 days since President Trump returned to the White House, and already the results speak for themselves. In just 100 days, President Trump has delivered where it matters most, securing our border, cutting inflation, restoring American energy independence, rebuilding our economy, and enforcing the rule of law. We're seeing the most secure border in our nation's history, a manufacturing boom, and real relief for families who spent years struggling under failed leadership. House Republicans are proud to be working with President Trump to keep our promises to the American people by strengthening our economy, protecting our communities, and restoring America's standing in the world. Mr. Speaker, America is getting stronger every day, and we're just getting started. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Fagoras, for 5 minutes.
Chair has unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes.
So ordered.
And to revise and extend my remarks. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor the life and legacy of a true hometown hero, a legendary trailblazer, a family friend, a mentor to me and many others, and the former Secretary of Labor of this great nation, Alexis Margaret Herman. I had the privilege to work on a presidential campaign myself, President Obama's campaign, and before I decided to join that campaign, I called Alexis Herman because she had worked on several presidential campaigns. I then pursued career opportunities at the White House, and again, I called on Alexis Herman because she too had worked in the White House, in several White Houses. And when considering a run for Congress, the seat that I now hold today, I again called Alexis Herman. That's not because that I had known her my whole life. It's because few people could advise on the level that she could. Now, to understand Alexis Herman, you have to understand where she comes from. She was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, my hometown. She came of age with a number of people and names that if you're from the Mobile area, you would recognize. People that all were born within a 10 to 15 year range of each other, African Americans, names that some know around the world like Hank Aaron, but others like my father, Michael, and Thomas figures, and General Gary Cooper, and Lonnie Johnson, Yvonne Kennedy, Sam Jones, and this body's very own Sanford Bishop. They all were born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, in generally the same time, and went on to break through a number of barriers, color barriers and otherwise, throughout their careers and make significant contributions to this nation. Now, Alexis Herman, her parents, they prepared her for the life that she had. Her father was actually the first black person elected in the state of Alabama to any position post-Reconstruction. And this led him to being very active and motivated in black voter participation, and led to him one day actually being run off the road by the Klan, and his 5-year-old daughter, Alexis Herman, sat in the car and listened as her father was beaten by the Klan. Her mother was a school teacher who Alexis had actually witnessed being thrown off of a segregated bus as a child. And this produced Alexis, who went on to be a fighter for civil rights and a fighter for women's rights. You know, she first stood up as a young woman when she challenged why African-American students at her parochial school were not allowed to participate in religious pageantry. And she was suspended for that. But that was just the beginning. When she finished school, when she graduated from Xavier University, she came back home to Mobile, Alabama, and helped desegregate other parochial schools. She then helped, for the first time, get African Americans jobs and apprenticeships at the shipyards in Mississippi, and that led her to doing similar work in Atlanta and helping to diversify some corporations there. And that caught the attention of a young Georgia governor named Jimmy Carter, who was running for president. And he ultimately named her, at just 29 years old, the director of the Women's Bureau at the Department of Labor. And so her journey took her from a segregated Alabama to serving as an advisor to Jimmy Carter, and ultimately serving as the director of the Office of the Public Liaison at the time that it was called under President Clinton, and then to being a member of the president's cabinet as the Secretary of Labor, where under her tenure, unemployment fell to a 30-year low here in the United States. And she worked to promote job training opportunities for low-income Americans. And after that, she didn't quit. She always reached back. She always gave back. She always served as a mentor to give advice to people like myself who wanted to pursue similar career tracks. And that led her to sitting in the boardroom for companies like MGM and Coca-Cola and Toyota, some of the biggest companies in the world. And she never forgot where she came from. She never did. And January of this year, when she was quietly battling a disease, or a condition rather, she took time to send me a text message that said, "Shamari, as you take your seat, congratulations. Your dad would be looking down on you proudly. Happy New Year." And so today, as I stand here as a member of Congress, someone who has followed in the footsteps of her, is not only my father that I seek to make proud in this moment. It is Alexis Herman. Because of people like her, I can stand here today. And so, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Tran.
Speaker, ask for unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes to revise and extend remarks.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I stand here today to mark the most solemn time of the year for the people of the Vietnamese diaspora. Black April, Tháng Tư Đen, is not just a solemn day in history, it is a reminder of the day we lost everything: our homes, our livelihood, and our beloved country. 50 years ago, on April 30th, 1975, South Vietnam fell to the communist regime. American troops airlifted 6,000 American and Vietnamese people to safety. Hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese refugees would follow, most of them boarding boats on uncharted waters, not knowing what awaited them on the other side of the journey. In Vietnam, the conditions under the communist regime grew more brutal. Many were imprisoned in concentration camps, losing not just their homes, but their freedom, their dignity, and in too many cases, their lives. This is a painful day, a day for reflection, for remembrance, and for mourning. Over 58,000 United States soldiers and more than 250,000 South Vietnamese soldiers gave their lives in service. These brave men and women made the ultimate sacrifice, and they deserve our continued and unwavering gratitude. We mourn not only those who fought for freedom, but the countless innocent lives lost during the war, those who perished at the hands of the communist regime in the aftermath, and the brave souls who were lost fleeing repression on boats. We have no choice but to honor those precious souls who were lost by giving the most we can to this life we have been blessed with. I share my own story with hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese Americans born to parents who fled our homeland with nothing. Both people did not let the hardship of the journey define the life they built in America. We have built communities that are unparalleled in strength, prosperity, and commitment to preserving our history. And now, as we reflect on the past 50 years since the fall of Saigon, we do so in solemn remembrance, but in celebration of what we have built together. From the ashes of war, we have risen. Today, we celebrate the trailblazers who have risen from this legacy, generals and admirals in the U.S. military, award-winning scientists, titans of business, educators, doctors, and artists. Our community has nurtured leaders in all walks of life, turning adversity into opportunity in just 5 short decades. Many of these people are children of refugees or refugees themselves, and they represent just a few of the countless contributions Vietnamese Americans continue to make across every sector of society. Our journey from tragedy to triumph has only just begun, and the story of our people will continue to inspire generations to come. As the first Vietnamese American to represent Orange County's Little Saigon community in Congress, I am humbled by the responsibility to carry this history forward. Little Saigon, home to the largest Vietnamese diaspora in the world, is a beacon of hope and a reminder of the resilience that has defined our community. I stand on the shoulders of the Vietnamese leaders in California and across the country who have paved the way for future generations to succeed. I am proud to be the 3rd Vietnamese American ever elected to Congress, following Congressman Joseph Cao of Louisiana and Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy of Florida. Every day, I am reminded of our strength, our determination, and our unyielding commitment to preserving our history, to ensuring that no communist regime can rewrite our history. I urge my colleagues to join me in not only remembering the hardships we face, but also in celebrating the incredible resilience of the Vietnamese people. Let us honor the lives of those who sacrificed everything for freedom, the United States Army veterans and the veterans of the former Republic of Vietnam. As we commemorate this solemn milestone, let us reaffirm our commitment to the values that matter most: democracy, human rights, and our unshakable will to be free. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes Mr. Subramaniam from Virginia for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, to Sikhs both in America and around the world, I want to wish everyone a happy Vaisakhi. To those of you who don't know, Vaisakhi marks the beginning of the harvest season. It's a momentous occasion in the Sikh community. And over the weekend, I had the privilege of joining the Sikh Center of Virginia to celebrate in Manassas, Virginia. The event brought together community leaders, local leaders, and elected officials, signifying the strength of our growing Sikh community in Northern Virginia and across the country. And so I look forward to continuing to partner with our Sikh Americans here in Virginia and all across the country as we celebrate Vaisakhi this year. Mr. Speaker, I rise out of concern today over the recent firings at Fannie Mae, firings that have impacted many of my constituents, especially in the Indian American community, constituents who have been dedicated employees for years with exemplary performance reviews. And without any advance notice, these employees received word of their termination over alleged fraud and ethics violations. And I spoke to many of them, and they said that they were fired for contributing to Indian American-run charities. But some of them didn't even contribute to those charities at all, or were encouraged to donate to those charities. There was no investigation, no due process, no chance to correct the record or provide their side of the story. Employees simply received a "we'll get back to you" message when they contacted HR. And without a proper and official investigation, I'm concerned that these firings are another pretext for making indiscriminate cuts to our workforce in Northern Virginia. And if these employees were targeted because they're Indian American and national origin being a legally protected class, then that might have been illegal and unconstitutional as well. And so I demand answers to understand why these terminations really took place, and we're going to continue to put pressure until we get those answers. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I rise today out of grave concern over our leadership at the Pentagon right now. In just a few short months, the Department of Defense has been overtaken by chaos because of Secretary Hegseth's leadership. Classified and sensitive information is being shared over Signal. The Secretary has a non-secure internet line in his office, and seemingly every day there's a new story about firings, backstabbings, and so-called shakeups in the highest levels of leadership. This leadership is not making our country or our troops safer, but don't take it from me. I have had many veterans and military families reach out to me. One military parent is so scared that the sharing of classified information over non-secure channels will put their son at risk. And she wrote to me that our nation's top defense officials shared sensitive troop movements over a commercial social media platform without verifying who was on the other end. This is not only reckless, it is terrifying, according to her. Our service members and their families deserve leaders who treat their safety with the gravity it demands. This breach not only endangers lives, but erodes the trust of those who serve and support our military. My son has sworn to defend this country. I expect the same level of responsibility and integrity from those in charge. Another constituent pointed out the hypocrisy of the administration claiming that they did nothing wrong in using Signal for these discussions. They said, for 18 years, I have lived a life most people will never understand. My promise to defend this nation does not stop when I clock out. It permeates every single aspect of my life. It affects who I marry, who I live with, who I date, who I'm friends with, who I speak to. I would be sitting in jail right now if I had done something as brazen, thoughtless, and dangerous as what Secretary Hegseth, among others, did. That's from military families and military people serving today. And not only is this a failure of our national security, it is an embarrassment for the United States. Our allies will be less willing to share intelligence with us if Secretary Hegseth might share it with his family, his poker buddies, or whoever else he thinks it would be neat to loop in. Our service members deserve better, and the American people deserve better, and that's why I reiterate my demand to make sure we have change at the Secretary of Defense level and in the Pentagon. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Thompson, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize April as the month of the military child. While we rightly honor the service and sacrifice of the men and women in our military, April reminds us that service comes in many forms. We're celebrating the more than 1.6 million children whose parents serve in the active duty, guard, and reserve components of the United States military. Our troops answer the call to defend their nation, but when they do, their children are quietly called to service too. These young people grow up in a world defined by constant change, showing remarkable resilience, patriotism, and adaptability. They move from base to base, often starting over time and time again. They say goodbye to friends more times than they can remember. They celebrate birthdays and holidays with one parent thousands of miles away. They carry worry, pride, hope, and responsibility, sometimes all at once. This month, we pause to recognize that while our service members protect our freedoms, their children carry the emotional weight of that commitment. They sacrifice stability, time with their parents, and the comfort of staying in one place. And they do it all with a resilience that is nothing short of remarkable. This month is a special time to recognize and uplift a group of young people whose strength and sacrifice often go unnoticed. This is personal for me, not only as an American who deeply respects our armed forces, but also as the parent of a service member. I've watched firsthand what it means to serve, not just for the person in uniform, but for the entire family. And I've seen how military children shoulder more than many adults will ever have to. As a parent, I know how hard it is to be away from your child, but I also know the pride that comes with seeing them live with purpose and discipline and honor. Our military families, especially the children, live those values every single day. That's why we celebrate them throughout April. During this month, one of the most meaningful days we observe is Purple Up Day. On Purple Up Day, people are encouraged to wear purple as a visible show of support for military-connected youth. Why purple? Because purple is the combined color of all the military branches. It blends each branch's colors, the Air Force, Navy, Space Force, Coast Guard blues, the Army's green, and the Marines red. Together they create purple, symbolizing the unity and strength of our military families. Military children may not enlist, but they endure the impact of service. And through it all, they develop strength, compassion, and character that make them leaders in their own right. Mr. Speaker, let's honor not just the men and women who serve, but the families behind them, and especially the children who carry this unique burden with incredible grace. They too are part of what keeps this nation strong. I want to thank every military child, past, present, and future, for their strength, sacrifice, and spirit. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess until noon today.